You're welcome. Thanks for joining us and for the questions. I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be fun. It's the first one we've done in this kind of format, but I think as we were kind of chatting about earlier, this has become the new norm for all of us, right? And so it's only fitting that we do a kind of a roundtable event in a grid up on the screen here. But before we jump into the questions, I just want to kind of just take a second on the front end to just acknowledge the very unique point of time that we're in over obviously the last few months, but especially the last few weeks. The unique and kind of historical time that we've been in. Hopefully you all got the chance to see the email I sent on Monday in regards to our positioning as a club of our values and specifically around the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's something that really for our club from top to bottom, myself and kind of everyone over the last 4+ weeks has been really number one priority, and nothing else has been really close to it. I think that it's something that has really struck so many of us in our organization at such a at a deep level, and something where immediately there was a call internally. We all knew we wanted to do something. We didn't know exactly what, but knew that we wanted to do something. And I think we've taken a lot of steps internally over the last few weeks to get to the point where we felt good about being able to communicate very clearly in a manner to our fan base, what the values of our organization are, and what we stand for, and what we're all about, and how we hope to help kind of elevate the dialogue, the kind of the public discourse, around inequality and racism and social justice, that those conversations that need to happen and continue to happen. And then also commit to action. And we're proud that we had a great group internally, that we had 40 plus kind of hand raisers of like, I want to be on the committee. And I'm like, 50 person committee is probably not gonna be the most efficient way to move quickly, because we knew that it was something that was important, that we needed to be measured on, and we needed to really think to take the proper amount of time and consideration to understand, to listen, to learn, and then to figure out how we can act and hopefully make a difference. But we also wanted to move with a sense of urgency as well. So we had a great group internally, and I'm going to talk about more because I know that there was a number of questions about this topic from this group and from our fan base. But I just wanted to acknowledge up front about how that's been such a top priority for us, and looking forward to seeing what we can do as a club to be able to use our platform to elevate the discussion around these important topics. So again, thanks for being here. I see Stephen is now jumped in. Welcome. And so I think we've got everybody, and we can jump into questions. First question, I don't know if you guys know what order you're in, but if not, it'll be a surprise. Our first question will be Derek. So if Derek wants to jump on.
Thanks so much, Brad. Just going off right off, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you sound great.
My question was going right off of your point there. I'm just curious what some of those action items are that came out of those initial meetings from your committee, and what we could expect to see in the next couple of months in the short term to support the movement.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks for the question. I think ultimately we wanted to. We had dozens of kind of ideas and action items, and our group vetted 100 plus kind of organizational statements, companies in our industry, sports teams, but also companies from like all different kind of industries, and to try and get ideas on what they're seeing out there that resonated with us and that we think that would make sense and with our fan base, with our company, with our community. Ultimately, kind of whittled that down from a starting point to 11 primary commitments that we want to make, and we wanted to try and look across different areas of our organization, of our community. Internally, we wanted to be able to commit to a number of things. One is around kind of the education and training of our team members to really be able to understand more about everything from things like the history of Juneteenth and actually acknowledging that as a company holiday on a going forward basis, but not just saying it's a holiday, but like actually learning about it and figuring out how we can educate our team members and staff on that, to committing to things like trainings and guest speakers around racial bias and in the workplace, out of the workplace. We're looking at right now trying to do something at least quarterly around either guest speakers and or specific trainings on these important topics. There's a lot of goals that I think they're all tangible. They're all going to be meaningful, and those are internal goals. And some of them are short term. Most of them are ongoing, and some of them are kind of more long term. I think from a community standpoint, we're going through a process of vetting out an organization or organizations to partner with more holistically across the space to provide, really looking at kind of the youth development and educational space. So more to come there. That's going to be a more near-term one. I think that we're going to be able to announce a partnership there that's going to be impactful in the relative near term. Another one that may hit on a little bit later too is from a staff standpoint, a commitment of a minimum of 2,000 volunteer hours a year focused on predominantly Black and minority communities throughout the 5 boroughs to do work there. So there's a bunch. We've got it. We had even more, but we had said let's kind of get it to a list where we feel confident that we can activate on in the near term, that we can hold ourselves accountable to, that you guys can hold us accountable to. And that's why, in addition to kind of sending our city members that list, we also posted that across. It's on our website, it's posted across our social channels, and because we want everyone to know our intentions and our commitments, and we want to be held. We want to hold ourselves accountable to this. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, thank you for all the background.
Yeah, I appreciate the question. It's extremely important. Like for us, we know Black Lives Matter, and we want to do what we can to use our platform to really kind of elevate the voices of our staff, of our players, of our fans, to help fight racism, to help fight inequality and injustice. So that's something that's very important to us. We don't view this as political. We view this as humanity. And so for us, it's an easy one to get behind because it's in alignment with our core values of celebrating diversity and inclusivity and being a club that's for the city, and that's what our city is all about. Yeah, Mark, I think you're up next. Or also known as DESA WebEx 2, I think, right?
Yeah, hi, sorry, the joys of corporate computers that stop you from changing settings. I'm just curious about, how can we as the fans help support the club with its efforts? How can we strengthen those that are being left behind so we can move forward collectively as a community? And I know you touched on that, but how can we help them with those efforts?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. I mean, I think as I mentioned in some of our goals, I think the driving force behind us and so many others, really wanting to take action is the Black Lives Matter movement. But we also, within our goals, go better than that, because we want to, we're for, we're for all kind of, we want to stand with and alongside all groups of people that have been fighting similar fights and fighting the fights, whether that's racism or any kind of discrimination, and so that's something that's very important to us. I think one way is going to be, we want to expand upon our volunteer efforts. Community work has been core to our organization since it was founded, and we feel like we've done a lot of great things, but we need to and will and are committing to do more. And I think that may or may not be an area that we've done enough across from a broader organization. We have a great group with our CITC, our city and the community, broader group, but across our entire broader team, broader set of team members internally. We feel like there's an opportunity from a volunteering standpoint to be able to do more, and then getting our fans involved and kind of doing it hand in hand, arm in arm with with our city members and our other fans to really kind of make an exponential impact, above and beyond kind of our internal goal, 2,000 hours, which hopefully we'll be able to meet and exceed and raise those goals, year over year. But how can we make even more of an impact with our members, helping alongside those efforts, whether that's, the work that we've done from a COVID recovery standpoint, which we're really proud of. We feel like going back to, March, this we feel like it hit us pretty quick. I mean, we were playing a Champions League game, against Tigres, and during that game is where things were, the dominoes were starting to fall with the NBA and different things. And I mean, by the next day, we told people, they don't go in the office. We'll let you know about Friday. And then I haven't seen anyone since since that night in person. And so it's but I was proud that very quickly we kind of mobilized internally and said, how can we help our our game day workers that are going to, now all of a sudden, we were supposed to have a game at Yankee Stadium 2 days later, and now that's off and all these games are off, and that's an area that they're counting on for income. How do we how can we help the people of the South Bronx that are less fortunate? The South Bronx was one of the areas, not just in New York, but in the entire country, on a per capita basis, it was hit hard, hit hardest from COVID, and so we had a pre-existing partnership with New York Common Pantry, and we really kind of ramped it up quickly to try and make a significant impact there, and many of our fans did, and our corporate partners helped in that cause. The Third Rail was very instrumental. They jumped on board to help out with that. We had a number of our corporate partners that either donated goods like Goya and Goya body armor. We also had Dumbo Moving and Storage, which actually, that was one of the other issues. They were trying, how do we get this stuff? How does Goya get stuff from point A to point B? How do we get things to people? So they were extremely helpful, and it was something where everyone kind of just has come together, and so we're really proud of that work. Today, actually, we launched our annual Citizens Giving platform, and so this is another way that everyone can get involved and that you all can get involved. So this is a platform that comes from our from the city football group level, that is something that's done every year, and typically amongst, we have 9 clubs globally, but typically in each kind of market, every club can kind of do their own, work on their own causes. But this year was the focus was on COVID recovery, and so our partner will continue to be New York Common Pantry, and part of that process with Citizens Giving is that any money that is donated from in our community, fans, staff, partners, etc., will be matched by our company from a corporate standpoint. So it's a dollar for dollar match. We just launched this today. It's going to be a 12-month program, but so we'll be able to give everyone more information on how you can participate, if you will. We understand we're sensitive that in these times, not everyone will be able to or will have the kind of means, and we totally appreciate that and understand that. But for those that maybe do have the means and the ability, that's something that we're going to be focused on getting behind and thinking we can make another big impact. So far with New York Common Pantry, we're almost up to about 150,000 meals that between our club and our fans, our partners, that we've been able to be responsible for the people of the South Bronx, and we think that through this program, we're hoping to get it. We're hoping to get to 250,000, and then some through this program. So that's going to be a big one for us. But I think there's a lot of other areas that we want to be focused on as it pertains to other areas. So we just wrapped up our June being Pride Month, and we do a lot. We have year-round partnerships that to focus on the LGBTQ community and our Pride kind of platform, which is not just only a June thing for us. It's also a year-round partnership with partners like Athletes Ally and others. For us, that's an important an important area. We host a Pride Night every year. Unfortunately, we didn't have a home game with fans in June, a home game at all in June this year. But that's something, and we're planning on doing the same thing with Black Lives Matter. So we have a Hispanic Heritage celebration. We have a Pride Night. We're gonna have a Black Lives Matter night as soon as we're able to, and I'm sure we'll touch on that a little bit more later. So yeah, appreciate your question. We want to do more, and we want you guys as involved as possible. All right, number 3 is Pete. Peter, you're out there.
The question I had, I assume you guys are working with Yankees on if and when, and hopefully soon, we're able to open the stadium to partial or whatever, 25, 50%. What kind of precautions are we working on? And I want to tie that into the July 10th date of us renewing or doing something with our membership. How am I going to be protected if we have not found a cure and or a vaccine?
Sure. So yeah, thanks for the question. I can shed some light on what we're doing. First thing I would say is that we obviously miss playing games, but one of the main reasons we miss playing games, we miss our fans. We miss having you guys all out at Yankee Stadium and cheering the team on, the atmosphere that is provided. I could say for me personally, I've spent, some of you may know, I spent most of the prior 15 years of my career in the NBA at teams and league office, and coming over to this atmosphere, it was just like mind blowing to kind of see the fan experience, the fan atmosphere, and the crowd going crazy, and it's kind of gives you goosebumps. So we miss you guys. We miss you guys being out at games, and we want to do that as soon as possible. Except obviously safety is the number one priority for everybody, and so that's always going to be the lens through which we're looking at that. Right now, from a league standpoint, the plan is to play this tournament in Orlando, which is going to be exciting, and we'll talk more about that later. But coming out of that, the plan is to return to home markets and play games, and I think that there's a couple different models going around. They're trying to hone in on something probably in the next, definitely by the end of July, I would say, and hopefully sooner in terms of what that schedule looks like. We've heard anywhere from, it could be 16 to 22 games. I think we're going to have home games. As it stands now, we don't have enough information to kind of to answer your question in terms of where we're going to play and if we're going to be able to play with fans or not, because it's going to come down to, in many cases, the advice that we get from our health and medical professionals, the CDC, local and state governments, and what is actually allowed, first and foremost. But we want to play games in our market. We want to play games with fans in our market, but we're only going to do it, if it's safe, and we're certain that it's safe. I do know that in every market, I was on a call earlier today with, the whole topic of the call was social distancing of stadiums and what that looks like, how you set up seating, manifest. The good news to kind of your point on the ticketing this year is we wanted to take those decisions, and make it easier for our members to really make a personal decision. Like in almost every other MLS market, there wasn't a decision to kind of roll your money to 2021. It was either, if we play games in our market, you have tickets to those games, and you'll come to the games, and they'll figure out how they get people into a social distancing manifest, without really an option to not attend. And I think we realize that, I think that if we're able to play games with fans, we'll have fans that will be very excited and will want to attend, and we'll have other fans who will want to support the club, but may not feel comfortable, going to a stadium to see a match, even in a socially distanced scenario, that we believe will be safe. There just may not be a comfort level there. So, I can appreciate that, and we're sensitive to that. So, that's why with our process, we'll say, hey, let's go to 2021. We feel much more, confident that the way things are going, that we'll be in a much, better, place in 2021. And then for this year, 2020, once we have the information, you'll be able to make the decision. Our city members will have the first opportunity. You'll be able to make a decision if you want to attend, one game, 9 games, or 0 games. That will be your decision. And we know that you'll be supporting us, whether you're in the stadium or you're watching at home. We know that you'll be supporting the club. Let's get to number 4, Liam. Hi, Liam. Nice jersey.
Thank you. Hi, Brad. Yeah, thank you for this Q&A opportunity. A few months ago, it felt like the stadium announcement was right around the corner, and now it's kind of easy to imagine that with the coronavirus pandemic, a lot has been impacted in terms of plans for stadium plans. Could you discuss how timelines and agendas with local politics and other pipelines behind the scenes, maybe in terms of project finance or design, have been impacted by the pandemic?
Sure. Yep. Definitely. So, I think that, as soon as the pandemic hit, for us, we kind of, the discussions, the external discussions from the stadium standpoint kind of ceased, partly because of us, because we wanted to be immediately focused on the health and well-being and safety of our team members. That was kind of our first priority, how we could immediately impact the community, how we could stay engaged with our fans and kind of provide support to you guys. And then, our partners, and especially, those in government roles, they became laser focused on, there's only one thing right now, and that's fighting COVID. And so yeah, I would say, from kind of the externally, things, took a little bit of time off there. I would say internally, after we kind of settled in a little bit into kind of the new norm that we've been in, we've actually internally been able to dedicate a significant amount of time to the project. And we have a working group that is full time, spends 100% of their time on it. I would say that probably before, I've been able to allot even myself, more time. I'm probably on, multiple, I'd say 2 to 3 calls a week that are anywhere from 2 to 4 hours each, that are, specific to the project, which is more time than I was able, than me or many of the people on our kind of working group were able to really dedicate kind of pre-COVID to this topic. So we really feel like we made a lot of progress internally, because of because of how hard New York was hit and everything that was happening. It was still, and understandably so, our partners, specifically, at the city, that's been, their focus has been really, really tied to the health and safety of New Yorkers. there's a well-documented approval process for projects like this in New York, and it's very community driven. And so, for us, engaging with our community partners is key, and because it's got to be something that the community wants, and it's got to be in a way that the community wants it, because it's for us, this is a broader project than just a stadium. It's much more than that. It's we believe it's going to be a transformative project for the South Bronx, and so it's complicated, but we couldn't, we're as optimistic as we've ever been, and we feel that we're going down a great path. And like I said before, we think that this kind of narrative of the New York comeback, we're looking forward to playing a key role in that. Thanks for the question. Next up is Ayana.
Actually, Derek and Liam kind of already asked my questions. One was the status of the stadium, and the second was, what is the club doing to provide a more inclusive environment, which I think you touched upon earlier. So
yeah, well, I would say one, the thing I would have to add on that is more, maybe more specific to the environment at Yankee Stadium and at games. And I think that we do our best to make sure that we have a very inclusive environment at games. We've banned a number of individuals in 2019, actually prior to 2019, but especially in 2019, for breaches of the fan code of conduct and kind of extremism, and that's something that for us is not can't be tolerated, quite frankly. And I think that one of the things that was really important to us over the last few weeks, a month or so, and internally with our workforce and with our task force internally, is not just coming up with, hey, here's the goals or here's the commitments that we want to commit to in support of Black Lives Matter and in support of diversity and inclusion. I would say what was equally important to us was really being crystal clear about kind of the values of our club, and what we're all about and what we're for and what we're against. And we kind of, I'll be honest, I mean, we poured over every word of the statement that went out, because we wanted to make sure that it was exactly reflective of where we stand and what we're about. And we went out of our way in our statement, and then also I went out of my way personally in the emails I sent to our city members and our partners and everyone else to say that we fully expect our supporters, our fans, our partners, everyone we do business with, to share those same values. If they don't, or if we have people that don't share those values and don't believe in and celebrate diversity and inclusivity, they're, quite frankly, they're not welcome at our events and our matches. And because that's how important this is to us. Hopefully that's clear. I'm glad you brought that up. We're trying to make that as clear as possible, and we want our actions to follow those words, and so we're committed to doing that. Stephen, wait, I just saw you. There you are. You moved on my screen. I don't know.
Thanks, Brad, and
Hi.
Really proud to be a supporter of a club that so openly discusses the current challenges that face our country. So good luck to you guys in Orlando.
Yeah, thank you.
I wanted to continue along the lines of the fan base and the stadium. The club has such a passionate fan base, and we create as best an atmosphere as we can at Yankee Stadium. And it's even traveled to Citi Field, and it's traveled to that other place in New Jersey a couple of times. But how do you think having our own soccer-specific stadium is going to impact the fan base? And then how will the fan base better be able to help the club?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think, it's, the easiest way to say is it's going to be a game changer for the organization and for, for the fan experience. I mean, obviously I've part of what my role and also even before I was in this role, I was just generally interested in, stadium and arena builds. I've been a part of now 3 stadiums and 1 arena project, major projects in my career so far. And it's something that I'm passionate about. So I've visited, I've personally visited, I think every new stadium or arena that's been built since like 2010. I did a lot of that as part of some due diligence when I was in Cleveland and the Cavaliers, and we did a $250 million stadium transformation project that was kind of similar on par with what Madison Square Garden did a number of years ago. Complete renovation, and part of that was going to all these new stadiums, including soccer. Because you want to learn from anywhere you can learn from, and so whether that's seeing LAFC's new facility. Last year, we had the opportunity. at NYCFC had the opportunity to be the opponent for Minnesota when they opened their new stadium for their inaugural game at their stadium. So we went out to that and got real in-depth behind-the-scenes tours, and then you see what happens in these situations where these new facilities really, and I went down to Atlanta. I've been to all these because pretty much I look at the schedule. I'm like, I have to go here. Last year, and it was really driven off of new stadium builds, and kind of fan what I've heard of in terms of the second best fans in MLS. I had to see who would win that title by going around. So I think that was we learn a lot. You got to learn off best practice. You talk to everyone what works well, what didn't work well, what would you 100% do again, what would you definitely not do again, do if you had to do it over. So those are all great learnings. But what I see in every one of those situations is just is a game-changing fan experience and fan atmosphere. So for our fans, it's going to be incredible, and it's what they deserve, and it's going to be apologies about how long of a time coming it will be, but it's been a long time coming. And that I think also in some ways is going to make it that much sweeter once it's really there, and people are and our fans are going to be like, wow, like this is our house. But it's just it's a different story when you have a place that's jam packed, 100% plus capacity every game. The noise. I mean, we'll design the acoustics so that it's going to be the loudest stadium in MLS. It's going to be and from a player standpoint, that's what gets you going. That's what gets you pumped, and that's why we play better at home now at Yankee Stadium. But we'll play, we'll play even better, when you've got the real home and it's packed every single night. So it's just such a huge game changer for us across everything on the business side, everything on the sporting side, and then from a fan experience, it's going to be unbelievable. So now we're going to Danielle. Hi, Danielle. You okay?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you again for setting this up. It's nice to
absolutely.
hear everything. I'm just going to ask a question about the tournament, since that's going to be coming up, and kind of what's being done or thought to be done to kind of have the fans be able to participate in some way. And obviously it has to be online or social distancing, but just so that something interactive so that we can get excited and, we miss it. So it's,
I know.
And also that feeling of
too.
getting excited and getting involved. And so I was just curious what thoughts had been done regarding the tournament for the fans.
Yeah, great. Thanks for the question. A few things. One, some things that the league are doing, and I don't know how much of this is public information yet or not. So I'll just tell you anyway, and hopefully I won't get in trouble. But I was on a call earlier today. The league is setting up for games. Among other things, these large Zoom rooms for they're calling them Zoom. I'm not sure if it's going to be on that platform or not, but it should be on Cisco WebEx. But what I would say is that they're setting up these rooms for teams to interact and fans to interact, to cheer on their teams. And you may have seen this in some of the leagues in Europe. They've had the big screens like in the stadium, and they have fans that actually kind of can get on and kind of cheer on and be on to cheer the players on and be on broadcast. And so the MLS is working through doing that. So if you go and have a second screen experience as part of one of these rooms, you at some point could also be seen on the broadcast, cheering on these virtual jumbotrons that they're going to have in both end zones of the stadium. So that's going to be one thing that's cool. I think that where fans will be able to interact in these rooms together, cheer, get excited while they're watching, and then also potentially be on the ESPN or Fox broadcast. So that's one thing that kind of the league's doing. From our side, we're planning on doing a lot of activation around the games, obviously in Orlando, and I'm looking to see if I have a text saying that I shouldn't say anything, but we are closing in on a partnership that we're really excited about with the Cooligans, who hopefully some of you are familiar with, to be a host of a pregame show for us throughout the tournament and hopefully beyond. And so we'll essentially do a pregame show for our matches that they'll be hosting for us, which will be really interactive and exciting. That I think will get fans fired up for the match, and then we're looking into also ways to kind of incorporate halftime and maybe post game as well on kind of our own NYCFC channels to be able to get everyone together and excited about what's going on with the game. So we're looking at also bringing in former, whether it's former players, members of our sporting staff, et cetera, to be able to give breakdowns of what's happening either in the first half or what happened throughout the game. We've got a number of things in the works that we'll be sharing with everybody here in the very near future. Very near future being that we're playing our first game on the 9th at 9 a.m. So on ESPN. So don't forget to hopefully block off the first 2 hours of your day on Thursday. And again, we're gonna start activating that with the plan is with the pregame show before that. So have breakfast with the boys in blue on Thursday the 9th. Juan on? There he is. Hey, Juan.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, great.
So my question is about the tournament too. So
Yes.
how confident is the organization that the players are going to be safe now that there is a spike in Florida?
Mm-hmm.
And I just saw that 6 players from the FC Dallas tested positive, and they are already in Orlando.
We've seen leagues around Europe that have been playing for many weeks, and in Germany now almost 2 months, and there's a lot of learnings that MLS received from all those leagues, and the NBA is kind of having a similar setup in Florida, so there's a lot of sharing of information and kind of best practices around that. So they pulled out all the stops, and we feel confident we're in a good spot. And the plan, they're going down there with the mindset to win. That's something that I'll give them. And I think that they know that obviously they would rather be playing games at Yankee Stadium with all of you guys and not having to leave their families for a while, but they also feel like this is a great opportunity for us to go down and show what we're made of. Guarantee that we're in the Champions League again in 2021. The team is fit. They're in a good spot mentally, and they're ready to go down and compete and do whatever we can to win. All right, just a couple more. Oscar, is Oscar? Yeah, there's Oscar.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you, Brad, and your CDFC organization for the Black Lives Matter movement, for your support. It really touched my heart. And
glad to hear that.
Yeah, my question, pretty much you went over everything that I was going to ask. So I'm going to change my question a little bit. It was about the Orlando tournament. So I'm just going to go back to the Black Lives Matter movement. And my question would be, have you been in touch with the leadership of Black Lives Matter and related to them your support?
So we haven't, directly with, the broad, kind of not on a national level. We've had, conversations, our committee on a local level, and there's actually very hyper local groups that we've had conversations with that are based in the 5 boroughs.
Yeah, very passionate. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's for us, I think that, we want to ideally be able to take on and work with multiple kind of partners in this space. One, and so, maybe a broader organization that is focused more on kind of on the educational space. And I don't want to give too much away because we don't have anything finalized yet, but we're moving down a path with a group that we're really excited about. And then also, potentially, looking at some more of these, a hyper local group, and really, as I mentioned before, with our COVID recovery efforts, we've been trying to concentrate a lot of our efforts in the South Bronx because that's our current home, and it's been an area that is
Devastated.
had a tough go, and recently. So that's another area that we're focusing in on, also as we kind of vet out organizations to partner with in this space.
Right. I'm glad what you hear about the vendors and the fans, that they got to share the same values as you in terms of BLM, and I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for your support and for the question and for being here tonight. And obviously, any other kind of feedback or thoughts you guys have on the subject, or anyone here, feel free to reach out to me personally on it, and I'm happy to continue the dialogue there. All right. Next up, we got one or two more. I think Jimmy Jimmy still here? Are there? Yep.
Hey there, Brad. I wanted to know if you have any special accommodations to those who are on the front line, such as doctors, nurses, EMTs, and paramedics?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Thanks. Thanks for bringing that one up. That's super important. Obviously, when it's amazing work that all the frontline workers, and especially in a city like New York, kind of to keep New York running during the times, especially the toughest times, and in March, April, May. Like it's amazing work that we want to recognize the frontline workers. In fact, you may or may not remember, but as part of kind of the member rollover platform, and one that we rolled out as part of the incentives, bonuses, kind of to roll your membership over to 2021. Part of that included a donation in kind of on your behalf to for frontline workers for a game for next season. So our hope, and based on kind of we've had a great rollover. We're pacing right now. We're pacing at a 95% rollover rate to 2021, which is incredible, and I think a testament to our members that and kind of seeing and believing in us, and being proud supporters. So we're really couldn't be more thrilled about that. And so with that, we're pacing right now for almost I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 4,000 donated tickets on our members' behalf to frontline workers for games next season. So our tentative plan is to do a couple different big nights to honor frontline workers, and that's both kind of from a hospital work standpoint, but also others in our grocery workers and delivery and everything that really kept the city running, that all of those essential workers. So that's part of it. We're as a club going to do more on top of that, but that was kind of part of the piece that we felt that our members would resonate with our members when they saw that, hey, in addition to myself getting some great additional benefits for 2021 in the future, I'm also helping to support frontline workers. We felt that was going to be meaningful. But with that, I want to just kind of close and say thanks to everyone for your questions today and for your support of the club. It's really humbling to be part of an organization that I think really has some incredible values and wants to do what we can to live up to those values and really care about community, care about our fans, and be able to put a great product on the pitch for you that you can all be proud of. So we're hoping that we can build off of last year. You know, we felt that we were coming into this season as a favorite in the East, and we, you know, obviously things got cut a little bit short early on, and now we're back. And like I said before, these guys are ready to show, you know, what we're all about and show that that we're kind of the team to beat in the East. So look forward to watching our first match back with you guys next Thursday, the 9th, 9 a.m. on ESPN, and beyond that, I hope that I'll get the chance to see you guys all live and in person at a game at Yankee Stadium at sometime in the not too distant future, in a world where we are all maybe social distance, you know, 6 foot elbows, but it'd still be great to see you all live and in person. So with that, I'll let everyone get on with their night, but appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate your support. Thank you so much, and hope to talk to you guys soon.